Hi everyone, this video is part of Macquarie University's coding tutorials, and today we'll cover how to import projects in Eclipse and discuss some common errors to watch out for. So far we've learned how to create our own projects, but if we are given a project we need to open in Eclipse, we need to import it. We'll be covering two methods of importing projects: importing from an archive and importing from a root directory, and we'll talk about why it's best to import from an archive file. First, let's export the project we made when we practice debugging, that is, the debugging practice project. First, we right-click the project in the Project Explorer, then select Export from the drop-down menu. Then we select General, then Archive File, then click Next. Finally, we choose the destination to save the archive file. In this case, we can save it to our desktop. Let's keep the name Debugging Practice and make sure it will be saved as a .zip file. We click Finish, and we get the zip file on our desktop called Debugging Practice, which contains our project. Now let's import the project we just exported, pretending that it's a project we've been given to open. Typically when importing an archive project, you won't already have it in your workspace. To recreate this, I'll delete the project from my workspace. There are two main ways to import a project into Eclipse: from an archive file or from a root directory. When importing from an archive file, the project is imported into the workspace as a copy. As a refresher, the workspace is a location where Eclipse stores all of the projects that we are currently working on. This is beneficial because it allows us to make changes to the project without affecting the original files. Let's first import the project as an archive file. Since we exported it as an archive file, the project is already zipped or compressed, and we can import it directly without compressing it. If we were given a project that isn't an archive file, we would first zip or compress the folder and then import the newly created archive file. To import the archive file, in Eclipse go to File, then select Import. Select General, then Existing Projects into Workspace. We do not want to select Archive File yet, we need to specify that we will import a project. Now we can choose whether to import a root directory here or an archive file. Make sure to choose the archive file option. Browse for the archive file, we saved it on our desktop, and select it. Now click Finish, and that's it, the project is imported. Remember that a copy has been created in our workspace and we won't be modifying the original project this way. On the other hand, importing from a root directory imports the project directly from its current location. This means that any changes made to the project will be made to the original files. I'll delete the project from our workspace so we can import the project again. Now to import the project again as a root directory. Let's first uncompress the archive file on our desktop so we have a root directory to import. Just like before, let's go to File, then select Import, select General, then Existing Projects into Workspace. Make sure to select Root Directory from the options. Let's browse for the root directory, and select it. And click Finish. That's it, we've imported a project from its root directory. We don't usually want to do this as we will be modifying the original files, so we prefer importing from archive files. Sometimes when we import a project, it can have a red exclamation mark. This could be due to a variety of reasons, but the most common issues are: first, compilation errors in the code itself, which just need to be debugged as we would our own projects. Second, we could have missing class files. That is, a class uses a certain object made from a class that doesn't exist in the project. This sort of issue is usually an issue from when the project was created, so we would have to consult the project creator. Another issue could be an unbound Java version. To fix this, we could go to the build path by right-clicking on the project, build path, and then select Configure Build Path, and check whether the Java version is unbound. If it is, select another Java version from the list that is bound. Another issue that could occur is if the project uses JUnit test files and JUnit is not in the build path. If this was the case, we could add the JUnit library from the Configure Build Path window. By following the steps we've covered, we should be able to successfully import projects into Eclipse. Remember, when importing from an archive file, we are creating a copy of the project in the workspace, while importing from a root directory links the project in Eclipse to the project in the file system. Therefore, we prefer to import projects into our workspace using the archive file option. Also, it's important to note it won't be as easy to import a project made in VS Code into Eclipse. We won't be covering that in this course, but the projects you will be given here have been made in Eclipse. On the other hand, we can easily open Eclipse projects in either Eclipse or in VS Code. We'll go through importing projects into VS Code in the next video. See you there.